Hey, and welcome back. This is the Marketer Day of the podcast, and the man, the myth, the legend is here, Mr. Voiceover Pete Accetturo. And I looked him up on knowyourmeme.com, and they say that Voiceover Pete's testimonial videos is a video spokesperson best known for creating satirical YouTube videos explaining how a fictional character needs your help while requesting the viewer's credit card information. And Voiceover Pete is a video spokesperson who sells his services on the online marketplace Fiverr, similar to that of Big Man Tyrone. So maybe something needs to be updated there. But we're here just chatting with Voiceover Pete, finding out where he's been, what he's done, what he's working on now. So, Mr. Pete, glad to see you again.
Rob, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you. And, we go through all these different lifetimes, right? Like, I've seen you do like acting and skits and spokesperson and just all sorts of crazy projects. So what makes Mr. Voiceover Pete tick, and where do you come from? What's your heroic origin story?
I like you so much, Rob. My heroic origin story. Wow. We didn't get to the prequel series yet, but we'll kind of jump in and say, I never saw myself being a meme. Okay, can I just say I never aspired, never saw myself being a YouTuber. I did not have those great visions of grandeur. So imagine my surprise when the platform I was on booted me to the curb and said, "You're banned." I was like, "But I'm a top-rated seller." Do you know who you're talking to? So long story short, they banned me because I had violated terms of service. Just a heads up for everybody, never violate your terms of service. So it turns out that the legal department at Fiverr did not know that a meme is humorous. So they took that original meme where I'm standing there in front of Fortnite Towers saying, "Attention, all gamers, get your parents' credit card." They took that as literal, and therefore, since I had asked for a credit card against terms of service, I needed to be banned. And I was insta-banned, and I left in the coffers there a queue of about $25,000 worth of work, which I was like, wow, dudes, we could have worked that off, and then I would have left a lot happier, but I left, and that's how I got started into YouTube. And my son was a great help and helped build things up. And unfortunately for me, but fortunately for him, he had more visions of grandeur. And his dream was to be a director, J.J. Abrams, that sort of thing. George
Michael Bay.
Lucas.
Yeah.
There you go, Michael Bay. And so he wrote a ambitious script and got to meet some VCs, and they said, $100 million on a movie that neither one of us have ever done before, or how about we break it up into small segments and call it an anime series? He heard dollar signs either way, and he went with the dollar sign. So he's been working on the anime series. I've been able to help a little bit because they needed a voiceover. That was it. So I was able to get in and do some of those. They're still producing them, working through them. A lot of time goes into, and I had no idea. Lots of time. So that's been that. And then here I am, still doing video spokespersons, voiceovers for people, and it's been fun. I got to move around the States 4 times last year. I sold my house because everybody was like in a sell fever. So I sold, and I said, now what? So I took a job and position with my computer sponsor, the fine people at Zydex, and got out there. And after about 4 or 5 months, I was like, I'm not making the money. Well, it turns out things like inflation, everything wasn't quite working in our favor. So I said, I'm just going to go back to Florida. So I moved back to Florida, only to find the prices of houses are crazy. So I was able to eventually find one, and here I am today. And of course, my wife turns to me and says, where are you going to build that studio? I was like, well, it'll be my 4th one. I mean, how hard can it be? So I converted the garage into a studio, and how's it look?
It looks wonderful.
Awesome.
Looks like a man cave. You can get to gaming.
And if I turned the camera around, you'd be like, wow, that's a man cave. Yep.
Nice. Well, you need to be on one of those like those not cribs, but one of those reality shows where they show off the. I'm sure there's a show just about man caves. There has to be, right?
Let's do one.
Oh, there you go, and have your son film it and pitch it to the networks. I mean,
We
million
could
dollar
probably
idea
just
right
set
there.
up a couple of cell phone cameras, and that's good enough.
Well, nice. Well, there's so many cool lessons in your stories and just all these things to think about, like, the doing always ends up being more work than we expect it to be. And a lot of the times we have to rebuild, as frustrating as that is, and be going to the next thing. And what I find really fun and interesting about you is you have this character, right? This larger than life character. You think about Mr. Rogers or someone like or Pee Wee Herman, right? Where they're just like they're them, right? Just the fact that Mr. Bean, right? They're going on fun adventures. And then what's also really funny about you is you are a baby boomer gamer, right? And sometimes you associate kind of the older age with they're technophobic, they don't like the gear, they don't like the devices, and then the video games are just for the youngins, and you're here breaking stereotypes. So what do you have to say about those sorts of ideas, just the character and the messages you're putting out there?
Yeah, you bring up an interesting idea there, and that is, if you're a boomer, you're analog, right? You're analog. You don't think digital. And as I look at my sons, they're digital. They don't think analog. That's foreign. Give them a watch, with a couple of watch hands, and they don't know what to do with that because it's
Rotary
not digital.
phone,
That's
lost.
it. Phone
Yeah.
lost. So I've always considered myself a hybrid. I speak both languages, and it's worked very, very well. I've been in technology sales for years, mostly in computers, some IT hardware sales, and it makes quite a difference when you're already in technology for you to be able to say, yeah, it's no big deal to stretch over and do this too. What surprised me was my time at Fiverr. I had done over 10,000 video and voiceover productions, and here I am today approaching around 14,000.
Ooh, so
So,
you've surpassed the past.
yes, it's a learning experience.
And everything is. And I was even thinking on a drive back from dropping my son off from school, just this whole idea of when I was a kid, learning was uncool, right? If you had to do homework and go to lessons, it was like a thing to really hate. But learning is one of these like lifelong processes, and there's for sure like sub skills and things that you need to lean into and figure out what motivates you and follow through and kind of embrace the nonstop uphill climb of there's always new ways of doing things, right? There's always better hardware, better software. There's always just what you did a year or two ago on the TikToks or the Instagrams. Those don't work anymore. And so it seems like there's just always being on the move. And I'm always looking to tap into that energy, right? Because it's so easy to give up and to say, oh, I'm so tired with all this learning and buying and setting up, and you've rebuilt your studio 4 times. So what sort of advice do you have for those young kids or the old kids who are just maybe they're trying to like keep the learning muscle strong and alive?
Um, that's a great question. Thank you. I actually get that in my streams. When I stream, I get that question. Um, with popularity of a meme, it's much like a song. You love that song, you play that song to death, and it's like the song comes on the radio, and you're like, I don't want, I'm over that song, and you go on the next thing. Same thing with memes. Popularity grows, goes down. A lot of people aren't memes, but they often are. And so to have my popularity go up and go down, I'm like, okay, I get it. There's a life of a meme. So they asked me, gee, how do you keep going, man? I'm here because I enjoy being here. I'm not here to light the world on fire, my hair on fire. I'm just here to have fun and game with you. And if you're a gamer who wants to have fun, let's go, dude. If you don't want to have fun, it's okay. There's a lot of other channels. So, I'm not full of myself, And I think when we take our jobs, our positions, you can't be full of yourself. They're not going to respect you if it's all about you and the world, sun rises and sets on you. So as far as getting up motivated, it's got to be internal. And I guess when I hear consistently these days more and more is mental health. And I'll be very candid with you, Rob. I don't struggle with mental health. And I know a lot of guys who are success-oriented guys. And I've never heard them express to me, oh, I need a health day. Do you even know what that is, dude? So when I hear about the younger people and their mental health and what to do, it's a real concern, but I think it's a fact of they're looking in the wrong place. So if I reach out to you, Rob, because I feel as though you need some help, I'm looking in the right place. If I go down the street and I help out, there's a affiliated St. Jude type of place down the street here and in Tampa. And it breaks my heart to see these kids battling with life and death issues. Like, I'll give you my right arm, kid. What can I do? And you can't do anything. And that's, I guess, in part what makes it so heartbreaking. But your eyes are in the right place. You're looking at people with real needs that are far greater than your little mental health things that are going on. Not that those aren't important and those need to be dealt with in a healthy way. But I think 50% of people that battle these mental health issues wouldn't if their eyes were off for their self and onto others. So when I get up in the morning and I think about the day ahead of me, always in the back of my mind is, what can I do today to help others? Does that make sense?
It does. And I love that. And you think or you hear this advice in public speaking of, if you're so nervous, it's because you're too inward focused. You're too worried about yourself, and you get yourself out of there and you think about who you're helping, then your focus is on them. When you're doing your Fiverr orders or whatever platform these days, if Fiverr says we are kicked off, then if you're just focused on how miserable you are, how you have to say these silly words or get the lighting right, versus I'm helping out some other business, right? You make the YouTubes, and if you're thinking about, I have to spend 12 hours on this editing software, versus I'm helping out those kids they're on their phones and they're refreshing and looking for a fun, wholesome video, a fun skit to like and subscribe and leave a comment, then that's a lot more fun. And so you're saying that our daily mission should be to ask yourself, who can I help? Excuse me, who needs my help? And what you focus on grows. So if you're focused on how miserable and how unhappy you are, then that will grow. But then if you're focused on doing your part, being your own internal Mother Teresa, then that is what will grow instead.
There you go. Well said, Rob. You
I
should
love
do a
it.
book on that.
Well, maybe you should, right? And just talk what you've done to help people out and give back. So as far as the future, what has you turned on? What has you excited? There's this anime show, but as far as your life trajectory, your career, your presence, is the YouTube channel coming back? Or is the spokesperson kind of business going to new adventures? What's happening moving forward?
He gets me with the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, like a newsie.
Yes. I've been asked by Amazon to be part of the Amazon influencer program. And I'll be very candid, I don't know if I want to dive in. It's very funny that when you get involved with sponsors, that suddenly your fan base is like, oh man, you sold out. Dude, you're selling out. What's up with that? I'm like, no, I want to pay the mortgage. That's what I want to keep the lights on. They don't quite get it that you're right. The more equipment you get, boy, if only I had a better, it helps. It helps a lot. Better mic, better computer, and Zydex. And all these things are just things. You know what I'm saying? So what do I exactly want to do? I don't know. So I've tried a number of things this past year as I've moved 4 times, and some things didn't work out, and that's okay. I tried. And other things may work out. Okay. But the YouTube channel coming back, um, what really helped me in the beginning of the YouTube channel was working with my son. So when he left, I noticed the views and declines, which is tough to untangle, is the decline of the time spent watching due to the fact that it's the downside of a meme, or is it the fact that the content isn't something that I enjoy as much? So it it's a question unanswered by me. I don't know. And then to do some other things, I'm open to it. This AI stuff looks exciting, and what I want to do is integrate myself with AI, and suddenly I could do 10 different characters, and I could do a whole episode. Well, that's like the holy grail of AI, and we're not quite there yet, because I hear guys working hours to put together just 30 seconds. I was like, ew, that kind of defeats what I want to do and the amount of time I want to spend on it. So, Rob, candidly, I don't have a good answer for you.
Okay,
I'm
but
sorry.
you will eventually, right? Just because you don't have an answer right now doesn't mean that in 2 years from now, Eddie Murphy will be watching your movie, playing all the different characters, and say, "Man, I'm so jealous. I wish we had CGI back in the '90s when I was playing all the different characters and doing all the makeup changes." And you can be the next Eddie Murphy playing all the
Remember
different.
him in the barber shop?
Yeah. And
Yep. He played a couple characters there. Anyway, yes, good
and,
stuff.
and, and there's so many movies where he's play like 7 characters, or like Medea,
Yes.
right? There's all those sorts of things.
Yes.
So those are exciting times ahead for you. And so what I'm getting from some of these answers you're saying is that the biggest thing is regret, right? The biggest problem you could have is not acting. And it's okay to be bold and take these risks and do these drastic things and pick up and move and change careers, because it's movement, it's activity, and a lot of these changes can be reversed, and you probably wouldn't want to reverse them because you have all these other sorts of fun experiences, and you think about the Madonnas of the world and the Taylor Swift and whoever. They go through every few years, they have to kind of come up with some new way of making a splash, right? Donald Trump. And you think about Donald Trump, and like one thing I read about him a bunch of years ago was like he has his assistant every morning bring him a stack of newspapers with his name circled in red. And I was thinking, and I heard about this years ago, and in the '90s, you think, man, that must be an uplifting way to start the day. But present day, maybe not so much. Maybe for him, seeing all the bad things is like you looking at the decline in the views. And it just, for me, it's that lesson again on what you focus on grows. And if you find yourself looking at the decline, the downside, then perhaps it's time to focus your attention elsewhere, which is what you've done, right? Imagine if today you were still refreshing the YouTube screen, the analytics, and seeing in the decline, and you just felt miserable. You said, no, I'm going to do something else and go and see what Zydax has going on, see what Amazon has going on, and just pursue that next opportunity. So we've been, yeah, go
And
ahead.
that's one lesson I've definitely learned, and I hope others do too, is don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. And when you do fail, you learn a lot more than when you succeed.
Perfect.
Succeed is kind of the fruit of the effort, but failing, that's the process of the effort. So I've learned a lot more from attempting and trying, because who's really here to hold your hand in a lot of things you do in life? Not a lot of people. Sure, your family, hopefully, but to try some of these other things, I built 4 studios. Did I ever go to school to build a studio?
You went to
So
YouTube University, watched some tutorials.
that's it. That's it. My uncle used to say, "What'd you do? Go to What's the Matter You?" It's funny, but it's like, yeah, it's all on the job. You want to make a video? Well, you're going to need this, this, and this. I've never done that. Time to fail or succeed.
There was
Anyway.
also a time when you never drove a car, never tied your shoes until you
Right.
did. And so success is boring, and don't be afraid to fail. That should be the title of your memoirs. That should be a motivational book put out by you because, like you said, that's where the magic happens, failure.
I was thinking the book title should be Attention All Gamers. And then
Ooh, that's even
I'm
better.
working on the subtitle. But
Subtitle, don't be afraid to fail.
don't be afraid to fail. I'd like that.
Well, I'll be expecting some royalties, and on that note, kind of transitioning to the good stuff, the plugs, right? The promotion. What do you have as far as next steps here? I know you have voiceoverpete.com where people can order these spokesperson videos, but if someone says, "Man, Voiceover Pete, where the heck has he been? Oh my gosh, I heard him on Robert's podcast." It's like having J.J. Abrams himself stop by, and they want to know what's going on with Voiceover Pete. They want to take the next step with you. What are some websites? What are some social links?
Yeah, my Twitter, Voiceover Pete.
Or
I
X?
did a lot of marketing research to come up with that. Then Instagram, it's voice_over_Pete. And I don't really do Facebook. Please don't send anything to Facebook. I'll never read it if you send it to my Facebook. And then, of course, Twitch, Voiceover Pete.
Wonderful. And so if someone wants to get in on this video spokesperson action or this Twitch donation action, can you give us the quick sales pitch what that's all about? As far as if someone says, I want a Voiceover Pete video.
Oh, you want a video? Okay.
I want to go and donate to Voiceover Pete on Twitch. Why would they do these sorts of things?
You want a video? Great. Happy to work with you and figure it out. And I still get a nice steady stream of people, happy birthday, mom, or happy anniversary, or whatever the event is. We're going to have a gaming night and, want to kick off yours. Some of the stranger ones are I'm getting married and I want to use you to announce I'm getting married.
Wow.
Okay.
Maybe it was between you or George Santos.
So, yes, I still do it. And you simply, like you said earlier, go to voiceoverpete.com. I'm on Cameo. Tom Brady, I know he's out there. He's probably watching your podcast. And the good news is he's more expensive than I am. So a lot of people come to me instead of Tom Brady.
You're the downsell.
I'm the guy who gets it done and still gives you change back.
I love that. And I think we'll leave it at that. We don't even need to end with a motivational quote or anything else. Voiceover Pete is the guy. He gets you done. And then maybe you'll have a little quarter or a dollar or $2 bill left over. Voiceoverpete.com is the website and the man and the meme for you.
Thank you, Rob.